Apple, at the end of this year, is rumored to unveil a new pair of over-ear headphones to be sold alongside their own AirPods. Why? How? And what are these gonna be like? So many questions to ask and lots to talk about, so let's do that. So the first question I have is why? Apple already owns Beats, which is selling lots of different types of headphones, including over-ears. What does Apple have to gain from releasing their own pair? Well, to be fair, Beats does sell their own pair of earbuds, which Apple also unveiled AirPods at the same time they unveiled Beats X, even though Apple's is slightly more. AirPods actually cost a little bit more. But they've seen tremendous success. Any YouTuber will tell you that they see AirPods everywhere now. They were hated on a lot when they were first released, but people really like them. They like how easy they are to pair, they like how they pair to other devices, and they sound good enough and the battery is good enough for people to switch to them as the primary pair of headphones they used in their daily lives. So what does Apple have to offer when they start making their own pair of over-ear headphones? Whether they'll be called Pro Pods or AirPod Plus or AirPod Pro or Go Pods, lots of really weird name ideas out there. Let me know what you think it might be in the comments. But what can they do differently, as Apple likes to do with over-ears? Well, I think there's a couple of primary things they can fix that people have complaints about with AirPods. For one, that is audio quality. A lot of audio professionals out there will say that AirPods are fine. They sound a little bit better than Lightning earpods or headphone jack earpods, but the Apple audio team just wrapped up the HomePods, which have now been credited as, the best sounding smart speaker you can get. Really good bass, really good treble, a little weak on the mids, but overall, it never peaks, it never gets a muffled audio sound, no matter where you're standing, it sounds wonderful. I bet that audio team is taking all this credit and saying, well, people really like the HomePod, what if we brought that premium audio quality to our headphone lineup? On top of that, a big issue professionals or maybe other people who have not switched to wireless headphones yet have with the AirPods is latency. All Bluetooth headphones have a little bit of lag because you're transferring audio over the air instead of a direct line. Since over-ear headphones are a lot larger, I'm guessing there's a lot more futuristic and premium tech Apple will be able to stuff into it compared to, AirPods, which are smaller than an Apple Watch. Over-ears have a lot more space, like between the band that goes over each ear. They can stuff a lot more premium tech in there, perhaps Bluetooth 5.0, which is something that not even the Series 3 has, because Bluetooth 5.0 requires a certain amount of power, a certain amount of space in a device, and stuffing that into a device this small is rather tricky. But if Apple's able to pull it off, they might be able to stuff either the W2 chip or the W2 chip and Bluetooth 5.0 to ensure that when you're pairing it to your Mac or your iPhone, you get as little lag as possible. They try to close that gap, and you also get a very premium audio experience. So people right now who are against wireless headphones can say, well, there's lag issues and the audio quality isn't as good. Perhaps Apple Pro Pods, or whatever they're going to be called, will be able to start fixing that issue. The other benefit to creating a product that is larger means that there's more room in it to stuff lithium batteries, meaning that battery life on this thing could be really good. It's not going to charge the same way AirPods do, where they have a traveling case and they charge inside that, unless Apple decides to go that route, but I'm guessing they're going to prefer it to just be something you wear. But battery life wise, I'm guessing it could be in the 24-hour or plus area, and that brings me on to my next topic that I'm really excited about. Apple's over-ears are rumored to support wireless charging. Whether that means it won't have a Lightning or USB-C plug on the outside, I'm not sure. It's most likely that they'll include a port on there just in case you don't have AirPower or a wireless charger. But the way I see it, there's two ways they can do it. For one, you'll be able to take the headphones off, they'll twist on their sides, and then the back plastic or glass, whatever material that's made of, will be able to rest on either an AirPower charge mat or some kind of new technology Apple hasn't unveiled yet. Some type of wireless inductive charging that these headphones can turn and then sit on. Or a very interesting idea that I would like to see, though you probably have to pay extra for it, is a desktop headphone stand where you take your headphones off, you rest them on this little holder, and on that holder they can then charge. Though if they did go that route and they included a little stand that holds the headphones and then on the top headband it inductively charges, it would likely drive up the price a little bit because now they're not only giving you over-ears, but they're also giving you this really nice stand that'll look good on any desk. If that's the case, I think price-wise we could see it start pushing far over $300, maybe $400 to $500, which I know that sounds like a lot for wireless headphones, but this is Apple, so whenever we're predicting price points, I like to go higher than we think because it has that Apple logo on it and because Apple pays a lot for little minute details. In case you were curious, HomePod manufacturing costs are well over $200, which means that in terms of the profit margin when it it comes to research and development, having to restructure factories so that they can produce lots of these things. The profit margin on the HomePod is not very much, and that's likely why they pair it with Apple Music so exclusively, is because that's really where they're hoping to make money. So I'm hoping for a very similar thing with these Pro Pods, the idea that this will be another reason for you to switch to iOS because they're easy to pair. Now they'll sound really, really good. They'll be one of the first over-ear headphones to kind of flagship inductive charging, which means the accessory is not really about the profit margin, it's more about getting people to be a more part of that ecosystem. I could see these being more advertised as they pair with your iMac and are able to edit really well and you can hear things super well, or of course MacBooks. And then if that's the case, I think this could be a pretty exciting lineup and I would definitely invest in it, whether or not it charges via AirPower or a stand, or heck, even if it's just a lightning cable, I'd still be very curious to see how it works. The second big issue I think people have with AirPods is controls. But when you have two large cups over your ears, there's many ways they can go about this. For one, I don't think people would be too upset if they went with the button route. Maybe just a tiny button on the left instead of the right that allows you to pause or maybe skip or rewind, or maybe even track pads on one side that allow you to adjust the volume. Or a really cool idea I'd like to see is being able to hold one side and then even the Siri animation starts lighting up just like it does on a HomePod. And then you can of course tell Siri to do certain commands through there. I'm guessing the microphones on the over ears would probably sound a lot better, so building in the Hello Siri options could definitely be possible, meaning that even if you're really far away from your phone or you're just pairing it to your Apple Watch and you're not using your iPhone, you'll still be able to send texts and enable HomeKit devices just like any Siri device can do. So fixing those two big issues people have with AirPods between audio quality and latency, while also fixing controls while making them more easier. Maybe the left one has that volume and skip control and then the right one has Siri, and then the user can decide which one they want to use, I think could interest a whole nother group of people into buying into wireless technology and realizing that Apple has the best version of that via the W2 chip and by focusing on pure sound quality instead of portability, as headphones are likely more difficult to transfer unless of course you just leave them around your neck, opposed to the tiny AirPods, which I know a lot of people sadly who have actually lost just because they're so small they're easy to lose track of. Perhaps over-ears are better just for people who prefer that. There's just a lot of customers that don't like little earbuds and prefer the over-ears anyway, so I think this is a smart idea as AirPods have been really successful. Apple needs to diversify that lineup, and speaking of diversifying, please introduce more than one color. Of course, all the concepts we're seeing, they're just in basic white, which would match AirPods of course, but if you're releasing a new product line, at least make a color for every iPhone 10 just like the HomePod did. Space gray color, white color, we have multiple options. Either way, this is something I'm very much looking forward to. They could unveil this at WWDC 18 because it'll likely be one of those releases that's like, here's what's coming out, and then you don't see it for 6 months. Or it might be a really great release alongside the iPhone 10 and 10 Plus, the upgraded versions coming out in September. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think is going to happen, so let me know in the comments below, and let me know what's the maximum price point you would pay. Is there a limit that you will not break? Even though Apple, especially with the HomePod, is rumored to try to compete with other premium sounding headphones in their field. So if they're competing with Beats and Bose, which is funny because they own Beats, they'll likely cost a little bit more. All that good stuff, let me know. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.